how many stocks do you own that realistically could grow 1,000% in the next 10 years? Do you own a single stock that has that kind of potential? Now, believe it or not, but Coke, Ford, and Johnson & Johnson are not going to be 10 times bigger than they are today 10 years from now. If your goal is to consistently outperform the market by a wide margin, you're going to have to be invested in some stocks with huge potential. Now, I'm not saying you need to go and dump all your money in penny stocks tomorrow, but about 10 to 15% of your portfolio should be exposed to companies that have massive growth opportunities. In today's video, we're going to be talking about one of those types of stocks that has 1,000% return potential. We're going to start with the company, and we're going to talk about their product and their business model. Then we're going to move into their opportunity and potential. Then we're going to talk about their valuation and some of the financials and the numbers that they've been doing. This company is called Voyager Digital, ticker symbol VYGVF. If you don't know what Voyager is a technology company involved in the business of developing and commercializing a digital platform focused on enabling users to buy and sell digital assets, which are cryptocurrencies, across multiple exchanges in one account. Voyager is a licensed crypto asset money service business that provides investors with a turnkey solution to trade crypto assets. Now, disclosure, I am invested in this company. As you can see, I own about $1,200 worth, and I'm looking to add as the stock falls. I could see myself eventually having a position of roughly $5,000 in this company, but right now I'm looking to find better buying opportunities, so I'm just holding the position that I have at the moment. Now, Voyager in plain English. Voyager is an application offered on mobile devices, such as your iPhone or your Android, to purchase, store, and research cryptocurrencies all in one spot. It has up to 50 plus digital assets, it's commission free, and you can earn up to 9.5% interest on your digital currencies. As you can see, Voyager is offered on the App Store. They're currently number 43 in finance, and Voyager has 4.7 out of 5 stars, and that's from 15.4 thousand reviews, so that rating is pretty solid, and you could trust it. 15.4 thousand reviews is a lot of reviews, especially for a newer platform, a newer app. Now, I did a little screen recording of the application, basically going through all of its properties and features, and I'm going to kind of commentate over that as I show you guys the video that I took on my phone. So as you can see, this is what Voyager looks like on your phone. As you open up the app, you got all your cryptocurrencies on the left, and you got news going across the top, and then you've got some basic information in the middle, such as price. Scrolling down, you can see all the different type of cryptocurrencies that Voyager has to offer on their platform. They have all kinds of cryptocurrencies. I think they have the most out of all the trading platforms that are available. We're just scrolling through all these different ones. And then if you swipe to the right, you're going to see all the different data that it has to offer, market cap of the coin, the different volumes, highs, lows, all that information that could be useful to you. And then you have the interest rate of each coin, which is also super important. And then we're just going to go ahead and move on. We're going to click on Bitcoin as an example. As you see, you got the yearly, monthly, weekly, daily, and hourly chart. And you can see the change over those time periods. See the bid and the ask, the interest rate, all of that good information. If you scroll all the way down, you're going to be able to see a description of the coin as well as the latest news, which is good to look at, which is awesome to be able to research on the app as well. If you go ahead and click buy, you can see you can do a market order. And you can also similarly do a limit order where you can pick the price that you'd like to buy the cryptocurrency at. You can also see, I'm just going to go ahead and rate this app. Did this earlier. This is a voiceover, but go ahead and rate the app and whatnot. You can also click on your history to see all the transfers and orders that you've made with this specific coin, which is always helpful. And if you click the bottom right, you can see how you can deposit cash or crypto into the app, which is helpful. And then you can also search a different coin. For example, they have their own token called the VGX token. And that's a Voyager token. It rewards users with with the Voyager crypto broker ecosystem. You can basically earn extra interest on the app, and there's other exclusive features. And yeah, that's their own specific coin, which is really good for branding for the company. It basically gives you perks within the app, and that's the description right there. If you want to read it, if you want to pause the video and read that. And then if you go on the top left, you can see all the different extra, like the settings. You can see transaction history for a friend, all your interests, promotions, and whatnot. We're just going to go ahead and click on the interest because I'm sure a lot of people are interested about what kind of interest they can earn on their cryptocurrencies. And you just scroll down, you can see all the different interest rates on all the different coins, which is just good to know. So that's about it for everything on the app. Yeah. So I hope you guys like that little rundown of kind of the app itself. That's the product. And I think it's always important to understand the product that you're investing in, especially when it's a smaller company, more speculative. When you go through the product and you actually see and feel it, and you can see the reviews like we saw in the App Store, I feel like that's super helpful, especially when it's a speculative company. So what makes Voyager different from other cryptocurrency trading platforms? Well, if we go to their investor relations page, they have a whole slide dedicated to that. They say they have unparalleled competitive differentiation, right? So Voyager, out of all the major cryptocurrency trading platforms, such as Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini, BlockFi, Robinhood, PayPal, Cash App, they have the most coins. They have 56 coins. They have interest on 20 plus of those coins. They're commission free. They have unaffiliated exchange routing, and they're publicly traded. So out of all those 5 categories, they have either the most, or they're the only company that offers all 5 of those different features. You know, some of the other ones that are closer are like BlockFi, but BlockFi isn't publicly traded. As you can see, Coinbase doesn't really have hardly any of these features, which is, you know, kind of surprising. You would think that they'd have at least some of these to try and compete with Voyager, but they don't. And we're going to get into a little bit of that in a later slide. On top of being competitively differentiated, Voyager also has a very seasoned executive team. Now, seasoned executive teams are really important, especially when you're talking about speculative stocks, because if you have a good management team, it kind of takes a lot of the fear away from a speculative stock, because you know management has been at some big companies, some successful companies, so they kind of know how everything works. Now, Voyager's founder-led, so this is always great for any company, because founders generally care more about the success of the company, and as a shareholder, that's what we really want to see the company succeed. So if the founder's focused on that, then more than likely the company is going to be moving in the right direction. So several of the individuals on the executive team worked for E-Trade. Now this is super important because Voyager is basically a broker for cryptocurrencies, and E-Trade is a broker for stocks. So a lot of the executive team has already been in a broker-like environment, so they kind of know the best way for things to work and operate and how everything works and operates. So as you can see, their founder and CEO is he's the co-founder and CEO. He worked for E-Trade. Their COO also worked for E-Trade, as well as their compliance worked for E-Trade. And then some of the other guys worked for like CoinSquare, Ethos, Zoe Financial, etc. But the main guys I'm focused on are the ones that worked at E-Trade, because E-Trade is a huge brokerage, right? And Voyager is like in the same industry. So it's good to see that some of the executive team already has experience in this field. Now, this is going to be an important slide because, okay, Voyager pays interest, right? They pay interest on their cryptocurrencies. They're commission free. So we need to understand, how does Voyager actually make money? Now, a lot of people probably don't know this, but Voyager makes money from its bid-ask spreads, okay? So we're going to take a look at a couple slides, and I took screenshots of Bitcoin and Bitcoin's price at the same time, one on my phone, one on my laptop, or one on my desktop, excuse me, on Coinbase Pro and Voyager, just to see what the difference in Bitcoin pricing was. Now, if we take a look at this, we're going to look at, on the Voyager app, we're going to see that the bid-ask spread is $636.23. And then if we take a look at Coinbase Pro, their spread is only 1 cent. Now, Coinbase Pro has the smallest spread, but they do charge a fee. So if you're to buy 1 Bitcoin, you'd probably be paying around $270 in fees. Now, Voyager, on the other hand, doesn't charge any fees, But if you were to buy one Bitcoin on Voyager, you'd have to pay half that bid-ask spread, right? Because when you buy a stock or anything, you buy at the midpoint, right? Halfway between what the sellers are selling it for and what the buyers are buying it for. So you'd be buying it for somewhere in between the $636 spread. So you'd be coughing up an extra $300 just out of pocket, and that's just coming from the bid-ask spread. So on Coinbase, you're paying a fee of $275, but you have a spread of 1 cent. And on Voyager, you're not paying any fees, but you're paying $300 just to get in between that bid-ask spread to buy one Bitcoin. So Voyager pockets that $300, and that's how they make their revenue. And it's kind of like a sneaky way to make money and make it seem like you're commission free, but really they're not. And in reality, that $300 or like $315 is more than the fees that Coinbase Pro is charging, which is their flat fee of, it was like $275 or something like that for one Bitcoin. So I think that's important to understand how they actually make money. Now we see that Voyager is a great product, right? It's loved on the App Store. It's founder-led, and they have a seasoned executive team. So let's talk about the opportunity of what they can really accomplish. As you can see, the crypto markets are a small fraction of the global investable assets, and the market cap for gold is 6 times bigger than the entire crypto market. Cryptocurrencies have a lot more use cases than gold, even though it's a smaller market cap. They can be used as a form of currency as well as an investment. They can't be manipulated, and you can transfer them without using a bank. So I believe there's a chance that the market cap for cryptos is eventually going to eclipse the market cap for gold, just because there's more use cases for them. Now, this would be massive for a company like Voyager because it's just going to be more volume traded, and there's going to be more demand for a type of brokerage that trades cryptocurrencies. And at this moment in time, cryptocurrencies are being adopted like crazy right now, and it's not like this growth is just going to stop. Let's look at some of these articles. Tesla buys $1.5 billion in Bitcoin and plans to accept it as a payment. Major companies and banks are now buying Bitcoin. If you want exposure, here's how. So when massive companies like Tesla and I know Square and PayPal are starting to buy Bitcoin, it's a clear indicator that this is a long-term trend and this has real potential. The growth of the cryptocurrency market is very real, and a company like Voyager is positioned to take advantage of this situation, which is going to be beneficial for investors that can get into a company like this early on in its stages. Let's take a look at Voyager's valuation. If we look at Yahoo Finance, Voyager's valued at just under $2 billion, which means they're a pretty small company. If we look at one of Voyager's main competitors, Coinbase, who offers a lot less features than Voyager does, but they do have a desktop and a mobile application, and they're also just very widely known, we can see that they're going to be valued at almost $80 billion. Now, Voyager might not ever reach this valuation, right? They're only at $2 billion now. But I think it's safe to say there's a lot of room to grow for a brokerage-type company focused around crypto assets. Let's take a look at some of Voyager's most recent financials. So a majority of Voyager's assets are in digital currencies in fiat, which could be considered a risk because the cryptocurrency market is very volatile. I mean, Bitcoin's jumping 10% up or down pretty regularly. So it's a little bit risky to have a lot of their assets in digital currencies, but they are a crypto brokerage, so it kind of makes sense. They have roughly equal total assets to total liabilities, so nothing crazy on their balance sheet. A little bit risky in my opinion, but nothing super worrisome. If we look at their statement of operations, we see they have massive revenue growth. They went from $72,000 in revenue in September 30, 2019 to over $2 million in just the 3 months ended in 2020. Now, if we take a look at their net loss, they lost $2 million a year ago period and roughly $4 million in the most recent period. Now, their revenue grew by massive multiples. Like the loss growth is nowhere even near comparable to what their revenue growth is, which is something you want to see. You want to see revenue outgrowing the losses massively. And in their most recent conference call, they mentioned that their goal was to be profitable by the first quarter in 2021, which we're going to get to see here pretty soon. And if they can do that, that's going to be massive for this company because it's going to turn them from a super spec stock to a company that's actually making money, a company that has a solid executive team, and a company that has a real opportunity. This is going to really change the outlook on the company in general and probably get a lot more investors on board. If we listen to the last conference call, we can get a look on some of the growth rates that this company's doing. In the last conference call, they mentioned revenue growth of over 220%, and the brokerage accounts increased by 330%. Some of their catalysts for future growth include focused and continued execution, product expansion. This includes increased coins, margin, advisory products, debit cards and credit cards, international expansion, mass consumer acceptance, which we're already kind of seeing with these articles that I mentioned earlier about Tesla and banks buying Bitcoin. Regulation, that's going to create consumer confidence. We're going to talk about increased public comps, investor acceptance, and consolidation in the cryptocurrency brokerage market. So just a lot of catalysts for growth in the future for this company. Now, I just want to warn you guys, this is still a spec stock, right? This company is still a very speculative company. But in my history, the best stocks seem to always be the ones where you can physically get your hand on the product and test its quality, right? Examples, Celsius, Planet 13, very good food company, and Voyager all fall in this category. If we take a look at Celsius's chart, we see the stock was a penny stock not that long ago, and it's just went parabolic. And that's because it has a massive opportunity and a great product. We can see the same thing with companies like Planet 13, very good food company, and Voyager. Now, at one point, these companies were super small, right? They weren't making any money, and they're very speculative. But if they have a great product, and you can test that, and you can physically feel the product, it'll give you a lot more confidence to invest in the company. So just a future warning for spec stocks, if you can't get your hands on the product and test it and understand it, it's probably not a good spec stock to invest in because there's already a lot to worry about with a spec stock. But if you can get your hands on the product, I feel like that makes it much more reliable. That's the forward approach I'm going to take to spec stocks, try and get my hands on the product and actually test it, and that will lead to an investment. If I can't do that, then I'm going to kind of steer away from the spec stock just because it's too much speculation, right? Some spec stocks are going to be better than others. So summary, Voyager has a massive long-term opportunity. They're right in the cusp of a massive long-term trend, and the market opportunity is going to be insane. The product is easy to understand, and it's loved, as we saw with the App Store reviews. Their growth rates are insane, 200% plus, even 300% for app downloads. They have a phenomenal management team. A lot of the guys worked at E-Trade, so they're already familiar with a brokerage-type company. And they're building a strong brand by creating a sleek app, kind of like a Robinhood kind of business model. And on top of that, they're offering their own digital currency to get more interest on cryptocurrencies, which is another smart move for branding because it's going to drive more people to their platform. Now, some of the risks with this company are they're a super young company. They have an expensive valuation relative to the numbers they're doing now. We talked about they have a $2 billion valuation, and last quarter I think they did roughly $2 million in revenue. But, it's hard to value them when they're growing at 200, 300%. And lastly, a lot of their assets are in digital cryptocurrencies, which we know are volatile. So those are some of the risks. Now, what is my plan to do with this company? Now, I have about $1,200 invested, and I like them for the long term, but I would rather get them at a lower valuation. So my plan is to purchase more, but just not yet. So my plan is to wait till Voyager hits around $9, and at that point, I'll probably add some more. That would be right around their 50-day moving average. And if you don't know, moving averages can be used to find entry points on stocks that you like. And this is kind of what I've been doing lately and what I plan to do in the future. When I look to buy a stock, I'm going to look for it to get around a certain moving average, and that's going to be my entry point. So I'm looking to add more around $9, and if they don't reach those levels, I'm just going to hold the $1,000, $1,200 I have worth for the long term because I think the opportunity is great, but I don't want to put on too much risk by buying it at expensive levels. So in conclusion, thanks for everybody for watching. That's my analysis on Voyager Digital. If you enjoyed, please like, comment, and subscribe for more videos. Peace, guys. Have a good one.